Welcome to math class. We are continuing on in the MathWorks 10 workbook on unit 4.4, working on making conversions. So we are continuing on going back and forth between our metric and imperial systems here a little bit. We are going to start with the example on page 204, build your skills, number 1. Oh, I'm going to extend my page so I don't keep bumping it here. So we're going to look at the first example on build your skills. What we have here is Layla, who bought 5 bushels of sunflower seeds. A bushel is a big old way to sort of measure how much of, it's used a lot with apples and grains and those kinds of things. It's how much did you harvest off of a certain plant. The problem with bushels is that if I have a bushel of sunflowers, or let's say sunflower seeds, which are maybe this big, versus a bushel of apples, which are obviously at least that big, I'm actually going to get 2 very different weights or masses from those 2 objects. My bushel of apples is not going to weigh the same as my bushel of sunflower seeds. So what I actually need to do is, and most businesses will have this, is there's a conversion factor for bushels. So sunflower seeds will have a different conversion factor than apples because they take up more space within the bushel and they weigh a different weight. So for this particular example, we have a conversion factor of 73.487 bushels per ton. Sorry, I'm going to make that a small case T. Bushels per ton. So what that means is there are, in 1 ton of seeds, there are 73.487 bushels. So what we need to do is we need to convert our bushels here into tons. So I'm going to simply take my bushels, I'm going to divide it by my conversion factor, 73.487, and that gives me an answer of 0.679 tons. But remember, the question is asking us to answer it in kilograms. There are 1,000 kilograms in 1 ton. So that means I now need to take this number, and I'm also going to go ahead and divide this one by 1,000. Oh, sorry, not divide. I'm going to multiply this one by 1,000. Had a bit of a brain fart there. So I erased too much. 0.679 tons. I'm going to multiply that by 1,000. Gives me an answer of 67.9 kilograms. Let's say that they wanted to convert that into pounds, because that's the second part of the question here. So they want to know in pounds. Okay, so I know that 67.9 kilograms. Yeah, I know that there is 2.2 pounds equals 1 kilogram. So I'm simply going to take this number and I'm going to multiply it by 2.2. So I get 67.9 times 2.2, and that gives me a final answer of 149.4 pounds. Okay. Seems a little bit tricky when you read it, but again, it's just very simple math looking at exactly how you convert certain things. This conversion factor is a little bit of a unique skill, but it becomes important, especially if you ever work in something like restaurants. It's huge in when you're measuring recipes and coming up and trying to come up with food costs, that kind of thing. Obviously, if you're working in any sort of materials field, you're working a gravel yard or something like that, you're probably going to need to know how to figure out the different weights for your products. So this skill is definitely going to be useful later in life. But let's go ahead and skip ahead to our next example, where we are switching again back and forth between the metric system and the imperial system. So we have our dude here, Alphonse, and he is making chicken kebabs for 14 people. He's using a recipe that says he's going to need 7 ounces per person. But the problem is, chicken at the store is labeled in kilograms. So he knows that he needs ounces, but the prices are in kilograms, so he's going to have to convert one to the other in order to make this make sense. So let's go ahead and get the easy stuff out of the way. I've got 14 people, 7 ounces each. I know that I'm going to have 90 ounces of meat to serve. If I look at the top of page 208, they tell us that 1 ounce equals 28.3 grams. So I know that I've got 90 ounces. This becomes a very simple and easy equation, 90 times 28.3, and that gives me an answer of, 2,773.4 grams. Problem is, I still need this in kilograms. So I divide this number by 1,000, right? Because 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find out that my answer is roughly 2.8 kilograms. Looks like they rounded the 7s up in order to get it to 2.8. So go ahead, break it down. If they give you the number of units here, you need to figure out how many total you have. The nice thing is those numbers on page 206 will tell you a very quick and easy direct conversion between pounds and kilograms, ounces and grams, and tons, which is the tons and tons is super confusing. But go ahead and give those couple questions a shot, and I will see you in math class.